Hi guys, Louise here. So wrapping up our sensitivity series, and we've already spoke about how sensitive skin can affect predominantly dry skins, but it can affect any skin type, so oily, acne, and actually a acne lesion can indicate that there is some form of ceramide deficiency within the skin. So any inflammatory disorder really within the skin will indicate that there is a barrier dysfunction. And the principles that we can use to start to repair this barrier can be used across the board. So whether that's looking at an aging skin, a dry skin, sensitivity, which we're talking about, oily skin, or just a red face. So we talked about sensitivity in this context as a bag of symptoms that changes the way that the skin behaves in various different circumstances. So the way I view this group of sensitive skin is that you may well have little breaches within the stratum corneum that's allowing things to get through and penetrate where it really shouldn't. So UV can penetrate more effectively because you haven't got the UV protection that the stratum corneum provides, and then skincare can get through these little breaches and starts to stimulate nerve endings and revs up the immune system, which we know is there to protect our skin from the environmental aggressors, but then that kind of can to a certain extent go against our skin because it's triggering all of these responses. And then the skin starts to overreact even when there isn't a proper stimulus. So basically everything and anything stimulates and reacts in the skin, even a sunscreen can in certain circumstances. And this is a prime example when somebody says, oh, active ingredients or an ingredient it reacts in my skin, makes my skin react, and it could just be that actually your skin is so sensitized that everything is reacting. So you've got sensitive skin where you cannot put pretty much anything on the skin without it doing the inflammatory cascade, or you've got sensitized skin, which is usually a result of either poor skincare choices, using far too many, or it could even be that your medication is making your skin more sensitized. So everybody has got a certain threshold of what they can tolerate with ingredients and actives, and you know when you've pushed it too far because your skin starts acting out and becoming more sensitive. So how do you start repairing this skin's barrier? Well, the first thing is to sort of have a bit of a detox and take stock of what you've got in your skincare cabinet. And for a couple of weeks, just remove all actives. So we're talking retinoids, AHAs, BHAs, vitamin C, even azelaic acid, and depending on how sensitive your skin is, so whether it's red, flaky, you're seeing these visible signs of dry patches, then you are definitely going to need an anti-inflammatory ingredient in your skincare to begin with. So start with the basics. We're talking a cleanse and a moisturize only for a few weeks. But you can't just use any old cleanser and moisturiser in the context of sensitive skin, particularly if we want to be building up the barrier. And actually, even at this point when the skin is looking much better and feeling much better, just because on the outside it's looking far more calmer, actually below the surface it might be still a bit grumbling underneath. So though I often give out with sensitive skin a post-procedure kit, which is what I give to my clients when they've had a professional in-clinic peel, because it's got those barrier repairing ingredients like niacinamide and ceramides, which really help repair the barrier, the skin's barrier. If you're looking at the high street though, Aven Cyclophyte is a good option. For moisturisation then, in the kit that I give out, it's got a recovery balm which is full of barrier repairing ingredients, but it's also really thick, so it sits on the skin and acts like a really good barrier against the environment. So when you're looking at moisturisers then, you've got humectants which draw water towards the skin, you've got occlusives which stop the water from evaporating off. And it's really important that you kind of combine those two ingredients when you're looking for a good moisturiser. And then there's barrier repairing ingredients which help repair this breached stratum corneum, which come in the form of free fatty acids, ceramides and cholesterol. And all together these are really going to help repair the barrier. So you've been laying off all of your actives now, you've been using a really good cleanser and a moisturiser, and now it's time to rebuild your routine. So the next step is your sunscreen. Opt for a mineral, avoid a chemical within a sensitive skin, and remember what you can't tolerate at this stage in 6 weeks' time, you might see a remarkable difference where you can now start to tolerate a more active skincare routine. So a really good rational approach to actives now when it comes to sensitive skin. So if you've got sensitive skin, it's likely that you might have other concerns like pigmentation, acne and anti-aging. And if you don't have any of those concerns, then, and it is simply sensitive skin, then in the short term at least, then you'll be okay for now with just those 3 categories of ingredients: a cleanser, a moisturiser and a mineral SPF. And it's really important to introduce actives nice and slowly, one at a time, because it's so much easier to manage the skin's behaviour when it comes to sensitive skin. So we're talking retinols really in the first instance, because it's going to help with anti-aging, pigmentation and acne and any clogged pores. So we're really at this stage talking about retinoid. So let's start with sensitivity and acne. You probably want to start with niacinamide as an ingredient and azelaic acid, just because they both hold these fantastic anti-inflammatory and antibacterial ingredients, along with being fairly good for unclogging pores and a little bit for pigmentation. So that's a really nice start. Later on down the line, when your sensitivity issues are being managed, then you can introduce your retinoid, which will give you much better results. Sensitivity and pigmentation then. Well, I always say when someone comes in and they want to solve their pigmentation, they hate it, but they also have sensitive skin, we need to start with the sensitivity first. Let's resolve that issue, because that's the most important. And also by fixing the sensitivity, then you're going to have so many more options when it comes to solving the pigmentation. So nice and gentle to begin with. We're talking a cleanse, a moisturise, sunscreen and possibly an azelaic acid at this stage in the context of sensitivity. And then the pigmentation route will follow a little later down the line, and we're talking then retinoids and pigment suppressors. And then anti-aging and sensitivity, well, these almost go hand in hand, particularly as we go further down the line and we're reaching post-menopausal time in our life, because the skin just gets more sensitive. When I'm dealing with an anti-aging treatment I'm always thinking about sensitivity and barrier repair, always. So we want, in this context, niacinamide in your moisturiser. An encapsulated retinol would be quite nice here. It's nice and gentle, it can be tolerated a bit better. And then possibly further down the line, a vitamin C. So vitamin C, a great ingredient, particularly when it comes to anti-aging. It helps stimulate collagen. It's such a lovely ingredient, great for brightening the skin, but notoriously difficult with a sensitive skin to tolerate. So you've really got to look at the formula. And also remember, when it comes to retinoids, you can use a bit of a buffer before. So if you are sensitive, or you're finding that your skin is becoming more sensitized as a result of using a retinoid, do a moisturization first. That will act as a buffer, then your retinoid. So to recap, reduce the number of variables that can lead to a sensitive skin in the first instance. Take out all of your actives. Build and repair the barrier, and then slowly you can start to build back up your routine, including actives. Define your goalposts and really give your skin the opportunity to declare how it feels about the skin care that you're using and the actives that you're slowly introducing. I hope this helps, and that concludes sensitivity.